going to the future and then seeing, how, content is evolving all the time, and we see every day that people's attention spans are getting shorter. They want to see, like, oh yeah, the other day I was talking to a TEDx curator about how they're crafting their speeches nowadays. And first, they started out with 20 plus minutes, and then they shorted down to 18, and now it's 12, and they're even thinking about making it shorter because people's attention spans are so shorter than before. Like
I fundamentally disagree with you on every conceivable level.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's what I've been told, right? I don't think so, because I could hold a thought more than I could read a book and sit down for like hours reading a book. I mean, my attention span doesn't go away.
The issue is where you're trying to capture that attention. You're trying to capture it on the internet, in feed, in Facebook and Instagram, where you scroll in feed.
Yeah.
Yes, there are attention span considerations, but there's a difference between capturing attention and holding attention.
Right.
You have a very brief amount of time to capture attention, but you can hold it potentially infinitely. And the proof is coming from everywhere. So take Netflix, for example. Now, is Netflix famous for sitting down and watching one episode at a time, or for binging?
Yeah, binging.
Binging, right? 3, 5, 10 episodes, a whole series in a weekend,
yeah.
right? If you look at the Marvel movies, every single one of them is pushing 3 hours in duration.
Yeah.
The top 3 movies grossing of all time ever are all over 3 hours in length. Titanic and Avatar and one of the Marvel ones.
That's true, yeah.
If you look at podcasts, are getting longer.
True.
And there are now 1.5 hour, 2 hour podcasts.
They are.
If you look at books, the New York Times bestseller list, right, for the last decade has been Harry Potter, 7 books, Game of Thrones, 7 books, Hunger Games, 3 books. There's all these sagas. There's tons of them. So I think attention spans are very, very long. But if you want someone's attention span for a long time, you've got to invest in quality and creativity, and that I find is fast becoming the exception, not the rule, because in the age of automation, what's happening is a lot of marketers are creating 100 slightly rubbishy things, throwing them at the internet through programmatic or AI engines, things like that, to try and work out which one of them gets, a couple of % greater engagement than all the others. And then it's honing in on the one. And go, that's the perfect ad. We're just going to use that now.
Yeah, it doesn't work
But I'm
that
like,
way.
but actually, it wasn't that good to start with.
Yeah,
it wasn't that good a thing to start with.
Right.
So all you're doing is getting incremental gains on something that wasn't that good in the beginning. And I think there's a worrying trend of companies doing that. Now, you might say, if you've seen something like The Great Hack, well, it works because they did it with all this messaging against Hillary and stuff like that. But again, that was on a very emotive thing, and they were telling lies. And so I think we got to work a bit harder than that. We got to try a bit harder.
Then what do you think of why do you think TED is actually shortening their length of their speeches? I mean, I was thinking if one speech is less than 12 minutes, was like that's just like sound bites. Like what kind of real content can you squeeze in 12 minutes? It's just like catchy.
I would look at, I don't know, but I would look at their business model. So previously it was an event-based business model. You held a big event. It's very prestigious. You got some big sponsors who spent lots of money. I remember IBM used to sponsor, Rolex used to sponsor, and whatever. Now they've got thousands of events. And you can't command as much money for each one because we know, way better than me, that economics is based on scarcity. The less you have something, the more it's worth.
Sure.
If you have thousands of these events, they're not worth as much.
Exactly.
So your business model's got to change. Now, whether or not they're pivoting to an advertising-based model or a per video sponsorship model or a programmatic model, I don't know.
No.
But my guess is if they're trying to go for volume over quality, then the easiest way to create more volume is to create lots of short things rather than a few long things. So it'll be interesting to see how it evolves, because TED has built this extremely credible brand that was based on having, when I first started watching TED, it was Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and Tony Blair and Gordon Brown and Bill Clinton and really world-class speakers. Now I haven't heard of most of the speakers. Now sometimes that's because they are eminent doctors and things like that, and I don't follow that world. But sometimes it's just they are self-appointed sort of thought leaders. Which I guess is something I try to do. I'm a fan of personal branding, but I'm not asking to speak at TED. So I think they've got to be very, very careful about eroding their brand equity by trying to be all things to all people. When actually they have something that so many brands would love, which is great credibility and quality and class.